Meet Fiona. Fiona has no prior experience working in finance, but has decided that a move into the finance industry would be beneficial for her career. She spent the last 3 weeks applying for various roles, and each time she checks her phone, she's received little to no response from the job role she has applied to. This can be extremely frustrating and lead to many individuals applying to the wrong roles or mass applying to roles in the hopes that this will eventually lead to a job role. However, this time is going to be different. Fiona has all the relevant qualifications. She has applied for a job as a bookkeeper, and she just knows that this time it will lead to an interview. However, when she checks the computer, she is frustrated and exhausted to see that yet again, she has just received a response to say thank you for your application, but you have not been successful. Thankfully, before she gives up, her best friend Roger, who works in finance, has offered his help. Now, the first thing we need to look at is, are the jobs that we are applying to applicable in the first place? But what does that mean exactly? We can all read and make a judgment on whether or not we believe a job is suitable. But are we truly aware of the different roles available and how suitable they really are to our level? Let's take a look. The first thing that you really need to decide is if you want to work in practice or if you want to work in industry. So let's take a look at practice first. So in practice, you'll be mainly working in an office environment like this one. There'll be a structure to your career where all your work is reviewed by a senior. They will most likely put you through your training if you haven't already started your IAT or a similar professional qualification, or they will put you through the next level on an apprenticeship or similar. Here you can join as an accounts assistant or a trainee business advisor, for instance, and you'll be supervised by the likes of a finance manager. Let's take a look at the other job roles that you can apply for here that will be suitable for an individual starting their career or who has already started studying AAT. So we have accounts assistant roles, accounts junior, trainee accountant, and accounts assistant. Any roles that are similar to this will also be applicable. These sorts of roles are also applicable in industry to some degree, but those roles will be entitled accounts junior, accountant, trainee in finance, finance trainee. There are various different roles that you can go down, but if you do not want to go into the likes of credit control, purchase ledger control, or an admin-based role, then it's best to stick to the search input shown. Now, if you move into industry, it might not be as structured as if you were in practice, so your career might not be structured in the same way. And what I mean by that is that in practice, you know once you pass your exams, you might be promoted to accounts senior or accounts manager, whereas might not necessarily be the case in industry. So you might have to work for a few more years longer to get that same promotion, or possibly a few years fewer. But it's very variable if you're working in industry. So let's move on to cover letters. Now, it is really important to ensure that you prepare a cover letter when applying for jobs and that the cover letter itself is relevant to the job that you're applying to. You should always address the company directly and ensure that you mention the job role applicable. You must also ensure to keep this brief and list a few of your key skills, and also mention if this is an entry role that you are interested in or if you have prior relevant experience. The second important detail that you need to consider when preparing a cover letter is to ensure that the cover letter is well written with no spelling or grammar mistakes. If a potential employer reads a cover letter with spelling and grammar mistakes all over, they are unlikely to think that you have good attention to detail and may not look at your CV as a result, or may look at an individual who does possess good attention to detail on their CV and cover letter. First impressions are key here because, remember, they cannot see you face to face, so are basing everything that they know about you from the piece of paper in front of them. They do not want to read an essay about your past experience, career, or self either, so when you prepare a cover letter, make sure that this is straight to the point. So let's move on to CV writing. Getting your CV right is critical to getting you an interview and hopefully the job also. Finance managers will receive many job applications within a year, mostly for jobs that are not existing. So when a job is advertised, you can imagine how many applications they receive. So your job is to make sure that your CV stands out from the others and make it easy for the reader, aka your future employer, to read and understand your CV as quickly as possible so that they can make an informed decision about whether or not you are right for the job. When they read your CV, they are comparing this to the job role advertised and seeing if you're right for the role. Therefore, you need to mention how your skills are applicable to the role that you are applying to all over your CV. Hence, if they state that they require someone who's got a good knowledge of Microsoft Office and you know how to use Microsoft Office, then you must write this on your CV. I'll be the first person to tell you that no one else will fight your corner or sell your skills to this future employer, so you need to make sure that your CV is doing this for you. But there's a fine line between boasting confidence and simply stating that you can do the job well and correctly, so make sure not to go overboard here. When you are writing down your skills, make sure that you bullet point them in the exact number shown on the job application. For instance, if they talk about working in a team first, then write about that first on your CV when you're noting down your skills. Other things that you may wish to have on your CV include the likes of past experience. Note, this area can trick some individuals up. If you feel that some of your past work experience is not relevant, then you don't need to put that on your CV. I myself have excluded areas of work experience in the past because they are not relevant. However, if you have, for instance, undertaken a degree in a different area and you've received your degree, then you can leave this on here because it shows dedication, willingness and drive to the employer and that you're capable. So even if the degree is in a completely different field, it does not matter. You can still put this on your CV. Next, always ensure that your CV does not include any gaps, or if there are gaps, then there's gaps for good reason, such as if you've taken a break from work, had children, etc. And make sure that you are able to back up these gaps because an employer may well ask you about this in your interview. So check and double check the dates of your past employment to ensure there are no mistakes, and be aware that a future employer may check your LinkedIn or Facebook account for more information about where you have worked previously, so make sure that this tallies back to whatever information is out there on the internet about your past work experience. Next, ensure that you leave a contact number or email address for the employer to get hold of you. I think I can use both hands to count how many times I've received an application for a job role from a fantastic individual and then I have no way of contacting them. So it's really simple, but something to be very, very aware of, that if you don't leave a contact detail, they can't get hold of you to offer you the job in the first place. So hopefully, if you follow all of the above, then this may help you to obtain a job working in finance in future. So I hope you found this video useful. Consider subscribing for more tutorials and helpful guides in accounting and finance, and I shall see you on the next video.